Hello friends, welcome back. By end of this video, you will be learning the different taxes which got subsumed with GST, what are the taxes which did not get subsumed with GST, what are the benefits of GST, what do you mean by GST portal and what is the GST portal and what is GST Council. And we'll also be completing this particular chapter number 1, GST introduction and overview of GST. So with that being said, let us straight away start with today's topic. Okay, before that, let us revise what we have discussed in the previous classes. We had discussed about what do you mean by tax. Tax is a pecuniary benefit, then types of taxes, direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes, incident impact on same person. Indirect taxes, incident impact on two different persons. Then what are the features of indirect taxes, or what are the features of GST? It is RCB will win, sir. Who will win the IPL this year? RCB will win, sir. R for important source of revenue to the government. C for taxes on commodities and services. B for shifting of burden will win, sir. W for wider tax base. I for inflation in nature. N for no perception of direct pinch. S for promote social welfare, and R for regressive in nature. Then we had seen constitutional provision, article 265, 245, 246 talks about 3 lists. Then we saw amendment which has happened in our constitution. Constitutional 101st Amendment Act 2016 was passed, and they gave rise to article 246A, which told that now both central government and state government can jointly levy a tax called as central goods and services tax. Then article 269A said on interstate supply only the central government has the power to make the law. Then we saw the genesis or the journey of GST in India, how GST came into existence, and what is the concept of GST. GST is a What is the concept of GST? GST is a value added tax. Then there is a shifting of burden under GST, and the burden is finally shifted to the final consumer, and it is a destination based consumption tax. It eliminates cascading effects and it provides continuous chain of credit. Then GST in India, why was there a need of GST in India? What are the deficiencies in existing indirect tax regimes? Or GST is a cure for all ill of existing indirect taxes. What is the reason? Because double taxation was happening. There was no a product was taxed as both goods and service tax. There was no integration of central taxes and state taxes, etc. Then India follows dual GST. What happens in dual GST? On a particular transaction, both central government and state government jointly collects the taxes. We have different types of taxes: CGST, SGST, IGST and UTGST. And majorly CGST plus SGST is equal to UTGST. Then we had seen what are the different types of union territories, etc., etc. Then how do you determine whether a particular transaction is an interstate supply or intrastate supply? We should see two things. There are two fronts. We should see that thing, whether these both fronts are together. If these both fronts are together, it is intrastate supply. If these fronts are not together, they are at two different places or they are at two separate regions, then it is interstate supply. If it is an intrastate supply, then CGST, SGST or CGST, UTGST. If it is an interstate supply, it is IGST. We have taken different examples and seen the provisions with regard to inter and intrastate supply. Now, let us continue our discussion and complete this chapter in this video. By end of this video, today we will be discussing the remaining portions, which is an easy portions but also important from exam perspective, because they have asked few questions on these topics. Point number 1 which we are going to discuss is the taxes which got subsumed with GST. Before GST, we had plenty of taxes. We had many different types of chota mota taxes. All these different types of taxes got merged, and there was one tax which was formed, which is GST. Like, see, for example, when you cook something, no? When you cook something, what do you do? Say, for example, you are cooking paneer butter masala. The paneer butter masala curry you are cooking. So you will get tomato, you will get onions, you will mix, serve those. You will get oil, you will serve those, and you will mix and you will create a paste of that. And then you will put some salt, you will put the paste, you will put, say, butter, for because it is a paneer butter masala. Then you will put paneer, and then you will get a final product which is paneer butter masala. Just like that, even for we to get GST, there were many different types of taxes which were already existing before GST. All these chota mota taxes got merged, and it became one particular tax called as GST. Now, See this beautiful example, which I mean a diagrammatic presentation wherein, say assuming this is there are many chota fish, and there is a big fish which is eating all these chota fish, and that big fish forms something and it is GST. So what are these different taxes? Which are these chota fish, or what are the different ingredients by which I made this paneer butter masala? What are the different ingredients by which I made GST? The GST came into existence. So the different taxes which got subsumed are divided into two arrow marks. Taxes which was collected by central government and the taxes which was collected by the state government. Which are the different taxes which was collected by the central government which got merged with GST? Which are the different taxes which was collected by the state government which got merged with GST? Central excise duty was collected on manufacture. If you manufacture something in India, central excise duty was collected. Additional excise duty was collected if you import something, and on that you will have to pay additional excise duty, assuming that it is manufactured in India, assuming that the imported product is manufactured in India. So whatever excise duty rate is there for a product which is manufactured in India, same excise duty would be levied on imported goods, which is additional excise duty. Then we had service tax. If you provide any services before GST, we had service tax. For provision of services, we had service tax. Service tax was levied. Then excise duty on medical and toilet preparations, CVD and special CVD, this was collected under customs law. Then central sales tax. Central sales tax, before we did not have a concept of IGST. Before, if you supply from one state to another state, if you make an interstate supply, you were supposed to pay something called as CST at 2%. 2% CST was collected. 2% central sales tax was collected. Central sales tax was collected. And many different types of central cess and surcharges which was collected by the central government on supply of or transaction of goods and services, they got merged with. These are the different central tax which got merged with GST and became GST. So what are the different taxes? Central excise duty. When was central excise duty collected? If you manufacture something in India, you were supposed to pay a tax called as excise duty. Similarly, if you are providing a services, give a service tax. Then on medical and toilet preparations, there was a separate act for that, on which through which they were collecting excise duty on medical items and toilet preparations, etc. Then CVD and special CVD, which was collected under customs law, which were equal to the central excise duty and value added tax. And then central sales tax was collected on interstate supply made from one state to another state. And then different surcharges which was collected by central government, differences which was collected by central government on sale and purchase of goods or supply of services, etc. All these different central taxes, all these different central tax got merged with GST. They got merged with GST. Similarly, there are many sales tax also. There are many taxes which was collected by the state government also, which got merged with GST. Sir, which are the different state taxes which got merged with GST, sir? State value added tax. Before GST, we had something called as value added tax. We had for sale, which I was doing, no, I was collecting something called as sales tax. That sales tax got merged. Then different state surcharges, state cess, insofar as it related to supply of goods and services. State government was also collecting surcharge. State government was also collecting cess for supply of sale and purchase of goods, etc., and supply of services, etc. They also got merged. Then entertainment tax. Entertainment tax. If you go watch a movie in a theater, they will collect something called as entertainment tax from you. This entertainment tax, which was collected by the state government, entertainment tax which was collected by whom? The state government, got merged with GST. Sir, something you have written in the bracket, no sir? Yes, except those levied by the local bodies. Now, you would have seen in village sites, or you would have seen in movies, that whenever there is a in village side and all, Ram Leela programs are happening, or different some events like some drama, a drama company is going, or a circus people will go and they will conduct whatever program it is, say Ramayana, Mahabharata, some serials. It is not actually television serials. They'll have a small tent and they'll perform their plays over there. It can be related to anything. Now, for this, know that local body, that panchayat, is collecting something from them. What is it collecting? Entertainment tax. Now, these different people who go and perform plays over there, they will take money from us. From the villagers, they'll take some money. On that money, the local body over there was collecting entertainment tax. That entertainment tax is not merged with GST. That entertainment tax which was collected by the local body is not merged with GST. But the entertainment tax which you were paying for watching the movies in theater, that is merged with GST, because this is an entertainment tax which was collected by the state government. Then lottery, betting and gambling. You go purchase a lottery ticket. Oh wow sir, I am going to purchase this lottery ticket. I am going to win 1 crore lottery sir. On that lottery ticket, tax was collected by the state government. Then you are doing betting. Sir, I know how to bet on horse sir. So I am betting on horses, etc. You are doing some betting activities or gambling activities. On the tax is collected by the government. It is not free. It is not free. Whatever betting you are doing, whatever lottery you are purchasing, whatever gambling activities you are doing, on all these things, state government will collect some taxes. State government will collect some taxes. These taxes also got merged with GST. Then, now, before what used to happen was, there was VAT or sales tax. There was VAT or sales tax levied for supply or sale and purchase of goods. Okay, sale of goods. Mainly it was for sale of goods, and it was mainly levied on intrastate supply. If you make a sale within the state. Now, if you make an interstate supply, the government was collecting something called as central sales tax. If you make interstate from Karnataka to Maharashtra, if you are supplying, then central sales tax you are supposed to pay. If you supply within Karnataka, sir, VAT or sales tax you were supposed to pay. Now, what happened was, this central sales tax revenue, the central sales tax revenue was going to the supplier state. Sir, I didn't understand this. Say for example, a supply is made from the state of Karnataka to the state of Maharashtra. Now, this is an interstate supply. I am talking about pre-GST regime. Before GST, what was happening? It was an interstate supply. Correct, sir? It was an interstate supply. On this interstate supply, they were levying something called as central sales tax. They were levying something called as central sales tax. Now, this central sales tax which they were levying 2%, the revenue was given to the state government of Karnataka. Under GST, it is not like that. We had discussed in our previous class. So, this CST of 2%, the revenue of that CST was going to the state government of Karnataka. So, what Maharashtra government was doing, because it is not making any money from these purchases, because it is not making any money, Maharashtra government was levying something called as purchase tax. Maharashtra government was levying something called as entry tax. The people who in Maharashtra, the person in the Maharashtra who was purchasing this product was supposed to pay entry tax or purchase tax. This is different. In all the states, the rates were different, etc. So this entry tax and purchase tax which was collected by the state government also got merged with GST. And the tax, that is sales tax, value added tax, which was collected on sale of goods, that also got merged. Then luxury tax, you go to a luxury restaurant, you go to a luxury hotel, etc., to have a dinner or to stay in that hotel, etc., they were collecting something called as luxury tax. That luxury tax also was collected by the state government. It also got merged with GST. And the different taxes which was collected on advertisement activities, the different taxes which was collected on advertisement activities also got merged with GST. In examination, they have asked a question on, for 3 marks, they had asked a question on the different state taxes which got merged with GST. So it is an important, this particular topic is only important as a whole. Important from theoretical, see first chapter, majorly a theory question only will be asked. Okay. So these are the different taxes which got merged. These are the different taxes which got merged, and a new tax called as GST came into existence. Sir, oh sir, whoa, sir, tell me, sir, are there any taxes which did not get merged with GST? Sir, you told the different types of sales tax, taxes collected by the central government, the different types of taxes collected by the state government which got merged with GST. Sir, are there any taxes which were collected by the state government or which are collected by the central government which did not get merged with GST? Yes, there are different taxes which are not subsumed with GST. They are not subsumed, they are not merged with GST. Which are these different taxes, sir? Basic custom duty. Sir, what is this basic custom duty? When you are importing anything or exporting something from India, mostly goods, custom duties are levied only on import and export of goods. If you are importing goods or if you are exporting goods, you are required to pay custom duty. That basic custom duty which you are paying, is still leviable. The central government collects this basic custom duty. Who is collecting, sir? Central government is collecting this basic custom duty. When does central government collect this basic custom duty? If you are importing something or exporting something. If you are importing anything to India or exporting anything from India to a place outside India, the central government will collect something called as basic custom duty. It is leviable only on import and export of goods. That tax is not merged with GST, meaning even today, if you import anything or export anything, you have to pay basic custom duty. Majorly on imports it is applicable. Only on few products, if you are exporting, then basic custom duty is required to be paid. Then the taxes on property. Now, if you have a property, whether commercial or residential, you have to pay property tax every year. In Karnataka or in Bangalore, it is BBMP or your local municipality. That municipality will collect because you have a property. They are providing you CVH facility. They are providing you different facilities which they are providing around your property area. Say a person will come and he'll clean your road, the outside your house, or a person will come to collect your say garbage, etc. So for that you have to pay something called as property tax. That property tax which is there is still there. You still have to pay property tax. It is collected by the state government. You still have to pay the same. Then if you are selling and purchasing a property, you will have to register that property. Mr. A is selling the property to Mr. B. Now the owner of this property was Mr. A. Now the ownership is transferred to whom? Mr. B. Because the ownership is transferred to Mr. B, I will have to make a registration in the name of Mr. B. For this I will have to pay something called as stamp duty. Registration fee or stamp duty. That stamp duty which is paid is also still there. It is not subsumed with GST. Then on the electricity which you are consuming, on the electricity which is whether commercial land or industrial plots or whether residential property, the units, the rates differs. So I am saying that whether industrial or commercial or residential, whatever consumption you are doing of electricity, you will have to pay electricity duty on that electrical or electricity duty on those units which is consumed by you. That is also still applicable. The state government is still collecting that amount from you. And excise duty on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Whatever alcohol is consumed by human beings, on that state government is collecting excise duty. Oh sir, you told excise duty is collected by central government, correct? But on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, the state government has exclusive power to levy taxes on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Now even under GST, the power is given to state government only. Even under GST, the power is given to the state government to collect taxes on this alcoholic liquor for human consumption. It is because of this reason you will be seeing that the price of alcohol in Karnataka is high. The price of alcohol in Goa is very low. There is no alcohol supply in the state of Gujarat. It is because the power is given to whom? The state government. So the state government has all the rights to make law with regard to alcohol. Then the last tax which did not get merged or subsumed with GST is entertainment tax, which is collected by the local bodies. So these are the taxes which did not get merged with GST. How many taxes? 5 taxes did not get merged with GST. Basic custom duty, then property tax or stamp duty which you are paying, electricity duty, then excise duty on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, then electricity, the entertainment taxes collected by local bodies. Now, apart from this, you should keep in mind few important things. What are the few important things which I should keep in mind? Point number 1, on tobacco and tobacco products. There are tobacco and tobacco products. Sir, what tobacco and tobacco products? Pan masala, cigarettes, say gutka, etc. All these tobacco and tobacco products, on all these tobacco and tobacco products, they are collecting 2 types of taxes from you. Sir, 2 types of taxes? Yes. They are collecting GST from you and also the excise duty. Sir, excise duty still they are collecting? Yes. On tobacco and tobacco product, you still have to pay 2 types of taxes, which is GST, that is the new types of tax, and central excise duty or excise duty for manufacturing the tobacco and tobacco products. You will have to pay excise duty or central excise duty. These 2 types of tax are still levied. Sir, excise duty you told it got merged. No, yes, it got merged majorly on all the different types of goods and services, on all the different types of goods which were manufactured in India. The excise duty is merged with GST. But there is this product. Which product? Tobacco and tobacco related products, cigarettes, cigars, BD, or say pan masala, gutkas, etc. On these items, the government is still collecting excise duty. Sir, what is the reason, sir? What is the reason? Reason I had told when we discussed the features of indirect taxes, to promote social welfare. What government feels is, if I collect more taxes on this product, what government feels is, if I collect more taxes on this product, the price of this product will increase. Correct? The price of this product will increase. If the price of this product is increasing, people will consume less. But is it true? No. It is not true. People are still consuming more and more tobacco products even though the price is high. Because it is an bad habit which cannot be gone. Okay. So tobacco and tobacco products, on tobacco is within the purview of GST, that is GST is leviable on tobacco. However, union, that is the central government, has also retained the power to levy excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products manufactured in India. Resultantly, what is happening because of this? What is the result? Tobacco is subject to GST as well as central excise duty. Tobacco is subject to GST as well as central excise duty. So these points are important from your MCQ. Then opium, Indian hype, narcotic drugs and other narcotics, cocaine, all the different types of drugs which you have. Let me not get into what are the different types, because even I have no idea about it. So all the different types of drugs which you have, on those drugs, the state government was collecting excise duty. The state government was collecting. Central government does not have the power to collect the tax on opium, Indian hype, etc. The drugs which are made in India. There are different types of drugs which the central government gives the permission to manufacture that or cultivate that in India. On that, they are still collecting taxes. They are still collecting excise duty. Sir, GST is levied? Yes, GST is also levied. Opium, Indian hype, narcotic drugs and narcotics are within the purview of GST. They are within the purview of GST. That means what? GST is still leviable on those products. However, the state government has retained the power to levy the excise duty on such product which is manufactured in India. Resultantly, what? On these products, GST as well as state excise duties are levied on opium, Indian hype, narcotic drugs, etc. Both GST and state excise duties are levied. Now, sir, we all know something, sir. What do we know? Sir, we all know that by tobacco, by cigarettes or tobacco products, cancer is happening. We all know that the drug addiction is very bad and it is spoiling our generation. It is spoiling the new generation which is growing, sir. But still government is not banning it, no, sir. Why, sir, this is happening? See, because government is getting maximum revenue from that. Government is getting maximum. a huge amount of revenue they'll get from these items, alcoholic liquor, tobacco products, this opium in narcotic drugs, etc. Government is getting huge items. And apart from that, if you see this, see, not all drugs are bad. There are many drugs which are used for medical purpose also. So government cannot permanently ban manufacturing of these items. If they do, then Indian industries will have to import it from outside India. So government does not completely ban it. But just because it is supposed to be used for the purpose of manufacturing some medicines, people are taking other advantages. What advantages? They are getting addicted to it. Okay, medical perspective, I understand. Okay, sir, medical perspective, it is required. But people are getting addicted. They are directly consuming that and getting addicted. However, you should not do like that. Okay, you are a very good student. No, you should not do. Next. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Sir, just now you discussed about this. No, yes, same thing. But just I thought of writing it again. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, GST can never be levied. It is outside the purview of GST and GST can never be levied. About this alcoholic liquor for human consumption, I will again discuss under section 9, which is the charging section under GST of CGST Act. We will again discuss, because charging section specifically says you cannot levy GST on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Same thing on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. It is outside the realm of GST. Therefore, if you manufacture or produce alcoholic liquor, manufacture and production of alcoholic liquor are subject to state excise duties. And if you sell this, see, once you manufacture, you will have to pay excise duty. If you sell, whether it is interstate or intrastate sale, you will have to pay VAT or CST. If it is inter, CST. If it is intra, value added tax. Then we have one more product called as HP man or petroleum products. On this HP man, as on today, no GST is levied. On this HP man, high speed diesel, petroleum crude, motor spirit, aviation turbine fuel and natural gas. On these 5 different petroleum products, as on today, GST is not levied. Sir, can I levy GST tomorrow? As on today, GST is not levied, sir. Correct, I understand. Sir, can I levy the GST tomorrow? Yes. Government is telling, as on today I will not levy any GST on this product, but I will levy GST on a future date recommended by GST Council. Whatever date the GST Council is giving, recommending to us, as on that day we will levy GST on this. Who will levy? The government. CBIC board will tell, yes, now going forward we will levy tax GST on petroleum products. Sir, if GST is not levied on petroleum product, then what is levied? If GST is not levied, sir, why is the price of the petroleum products or HP man, the normal petrol, diesel, etc. so high, sir? On petroleum product, they are still levying VAT. On petroleum product, they are still levying excise duty. On petroleum product, they are levying import duty, that is custom duty, etc. So the prices are very high. Now this levy of excise duty, VAT, import duty, it is not at a smaller rate, it is at a very higher rate, so the prices increasing. Now normally if they don't levy any taxes and they give us the normal petrol, it will cost us only 25 rupees per liter, but today if you see it is 90 rupees per liter. Is it good? Very bad. If you see what is the total difference, 25 minus 19, around 65 rupees is the taxes which you are paying per liter on these petroleum products. Very bad. What to do? See, government takes advantage of all these things. Because government know it is an addiction for all of us, government is levying taxes. Because we know, see, that is how it happens actually. Government knows what people want. People in the sense not, see, major, like you and me, we may not involve in alcoholic consumption or we may not involve in tobacco consumption, etc. But majority of the population in India is consuming all these items. So government is levying. Now most of you may be traveling by bus. Most of you will not be owning any vehicle. So you may feel, ayo sir, I am not purchasing petrol only. So how is it affecting me? But 135 crore people are there in India. Out of that, even if 20 crore people are using these petroleum products, government will make good money. 65 rupees per liter into 20 crore people. I don't know how many liters they consume. So government makes very good amount of money through this. They have a huge revenue generation. So they will, why huge revenue generation? If I am not consuming only, government will not levy any taxes only. So because we are consuming well, government is collecting taxes. Government knows that we need all these things for in our day-to-day activities. Anyways, that is something which is outside the. Now as on today, on this HP man, presently GST is not levied. Can they levy GST? Can they levy GST on HP man? Yes. GST will be levied on this product from the date notified on the recommendation of the council. Whatever date it is notified on the future date, on the recommendation of council, GST will be levied on this product. Next, benefits of GST in India. Now we saw the major aspects of GST has been seen. What was their pre-GST regime? What are the constitutional provision with regard to taxation and with regard to GST? All these things which we saw. What do you mean by interstate supply, intrastate supply? What is the journey of GST? How this GST came into existence? What is the concept of GST? What type of GST we follow in India? Now, after seeing all these things, we'll see, or let us see whether this GST has given any benefit to us or not. Government says, or the material says, there are these many benefits which we have got because of introduction of GST. Whether it is true or not, that is a discussion which we don't have to make, but these are different types of benefits which we have. Now, actually there is a lot of benefit also from introduction of GST, and there are a lot of disadvantage also, but disadvantages law will not speak, the material will not speak. Benefits of GST to economy. So this is divided into benefits to economy from compliance angle, benefits to industry, and from tax structure angle. What are the different benefits which you have got? First, benefit to economy. What benefit did our Indian economy get because of introduction of GST? Now, because of introduction of GST, now we have unified national market. We have a single, see, the way they advertised GST in 2017 or before 2017, they said one nation, one tax, correct? Now entire India, there is only one single national market. We don't have this mixture of different types of taxes. Before we had different types of taxes, so there was a lot of headache. Any person, if he wants to start a business, he used to think whether I should get registered here, I should get registered in this regime, VAT regime, excise duty regime, service tax regime, etc. Now we have one single national market, one single nation which has a single tax structure, wherein a person doing business has to get registered only under that single structure. GST aims to make India a common market with common tax rates and procedures and removes the economical barriers, thus paving the way to integrated economy at national level. So now, before, every state had different state laws, state VAT acts they had, and the VAT rates were also different in each of the states. Now all those mixture, etc., masala is not there. Single tax structure we have. Entire India, we have the same procedure to be followed. Whether you are doing business in Karnataka, you are doing business in Delhi, you are doing business in West Bengal, you are doing business in Maharashtra, you should follow the same procedure throughout India if you are doing the business. Before it was not like that. Then because of introduction of GST, it is going to boost the Make in India initiative. GST is there, no, that is going to boost the Make in India initiative. Sir, how is it going to boost the Making in India initiative, sir? By making the market more competitive. Now, how, sir? Give me an example. We'll take a simple example. Karnataka, Maharashtra. Now, before GST, say for example, if you were a shoe manufacturer, or if you are a person who is buying and selling shoes, in Karnataka you were supposed to pay 12.5% value added tax. You were supposed to pay 12.5% value added tax. For the same shoe, in Maharashtra you were supposed to pay 14.5% value added tax. 14.5% value added tax. How is it boosting, how will it boost Make in India concept? Now A person, what will happen because of this? Because of this reason, what will happen? People will go and do business in Karnataka only. More and more industry will go and form in the state of Karnataka. Why? The tax structure over there is more convenient. The tax structure over there is more lenient, and the tax rate is also less. A company will have to pay 2% less tax if it is going over there. Similarly, in Gujarat, it was even more less. If you are doing the same thing in Gujarat, you should pay only 5%. So majority of the industries, if you see, are coming from Gujarat, majority of the industries. But now anyways, there is an uniformity throughout the India. Now it is shifting. So the development of Gujarat was also good. Now, because of this reason, people used to go and set up their manufacturing industries in the state of Gujarat. Major manufacturing activities were happening in Gujarat, major manufacturing activities was happening in Karnataka, etc. Because of this reason. Now, why, sir? Because they were seeing the benefit of tax. If I manufacture the same product in Gujarat, 9.5% less tax I will have to pay, and if I sell to another state, I will have to pay only 2%. Interstate supply was CST was applicable, central sales tax, and only 2% I will have to pay. So major industries were going in the state of Gujarat only, and same thing, people also used to see that if I import this product in India from any country, if I am importing this product in India, I have to pay say 10% import duty. So people in India used to feel, instead of manufacturing in India, I will import directly, pay only 10%. So it was never boosting the Make in India initiative. Now government has lot of different initiatives which they have formed. Now during this lockdown regime also, they had told, now go vocal for local. They also started this new initiative, local for vocal, start promoting your local brands, vocal for local. Now all this different initiative which government is getting is to boost the Make in India initiative. Government has started, the Modi government during its previous regime, they had started this Make in India initiative in India, so that different industries can come in India, products can be manufactured in India. How will this be sustainable? Only if we have a single tax regime throughout the India. If there are different taxes throughout the world, in different states, then a company having, say, in its manufacturing unit in Karnataka, if it wants to shift to Maharashtra, again it wants to take a registration, again it wants to follow different laws, etc. Now it is not like that. Now single tax throughout the country, single compliance procedure throughout the country, single type of the laws which are there around all the different states of the country. So any person can do manufacturing activity anywhere, not only manufacturing activity, whatever different activity he wants to do, he can do. It will now boost Make in India initiative. Then enhanced investment and employment. Now obviously, if manufacturing activities are increasing, the employment will also increase. It will get investment. Now foreigners, before they used to see that if I invest in India, I have to follow different laws. Be it central sales tax, be it service tax, be it value added tax, etc. Now following these different taxes was a burden. So a person was never coming and investing in India. Now because they have got GST, this GST is followed by 163 countries around the world. The major countries around the world follow this GST as their indirect tax regime. Now if a foreigner is coming and investing, he will feel, okay, in our country also we have GST, in India also it is GST, so let me go and do some investment activity in India, because the labor in India is very cheap. Before, all the investment activities was happening in China only. Majority of the manufacturing activities happens in China because of cheap labor. Now it is not like that. Now they are actually shifting. Now if you see, actually after this COVID period too, people are more and more getting their industries in India. Okay, what is this point talking actually? A boost Make in India. GST gives a major boost to Make in India initiative of Government of India by making goods and services produced in India competitive in nation as well as international market. Then enhanced investment and employment. With the boost of exports and manufacturing activity, it will increase the competitiveness of Indian goods and services. in international market and thus give boost to investments and Indian exports, and more employment is generated and GDP will also increase. Simplified tax structure. Ease of doing business has come into existence. There is now an uniformity in tax laws, tax procedures and tax rate across the country, which makes doing business very easier. I'll just read it first. Then certainty in tax administration. Common system of classification of goods ensure certainty in tax administration across India. Ease of doing business. Like, see, actually giving example to all this product is single. Before we had to follow different laws. Before, compliance procedure, VAT return you should file by 10th. Then file excise duty return by 15th. Then file service tax return by 20th. So a person who was doing business, in a month, some 5 days, he was only busy filing returns. Now see, filing returns is not so easy. If you want to file a return, you will have to generate the data for that return. Generating VAT data is different. Generating excise duty data is different. Generating the service tax data is totally different. They are all different types of data which a person had to generate for filing these different types of return. Now the procedures are all same. The procedures, that complex procedures which were there different is not there. Now the procedure throughout India is same. Any person doing business activity, he will have to follow the same law. He will have to follow the same procedure. Administrative of tax also has become very easier. Certainty in tax administration. Sir, how is there a certainty in tax administration? Now, before, classification of goods were also an headache. Whether a particular product is treated as goods or services, whether a particular product is treated as goods and services. For example, a SIM card which is there, you purchase a SIM card, state government was telling because it is a card which I can see and it is movable, it is goods. Central government was telling no, I am purchasing the SIM card so that I can use and call it to someone, I am taking the services of Jio, I am taking the services of Airtel, I am taking the services of Vodafone, so I will levy service tax. Similarly, I was going to an hotel, I am going to an hotel to have some food over there, to a restaurant to have some food over there. Now central government is telling, see, that person is cooking food for you, he is getting food for you, no, pay me service tax. And state government was telling no. See, food you can see, no, you are eating that food, no, it is going in your into your stomach, no, pay me value added tax, So a particular classification of goods and services was very difficult procedure. Not only these things, there are different points also. There are many other different cases wherein different examples are there which will see in our supply topic. So classification of goods and services was very difficult. Okay. Then easy tax complaints. Now the system under GST is completely automated. So the tax complaints which you have to do is very easy. Sir, how, sir? Everything, there is only one single website, gst.gov.in. You want to do anything under GST, go to this website. You want to take registration, go to this website. You want to file your returns, go to this website. You want to reply to any notice, go to this website. Before, for service tax, there was a service tax website. For excise duty, there was an excise duty website. For value added tax, there was a VAT website. For entry tax, there was entry tax website. For purchase tax, purchase tax website. For CST website, etc. Now it is not like that. There is an integrated software website which is there, wherein all the different activities under GST can be taken care in that website only. There is a simplified and automated procedure for various processes. All integration is through common GST portal. Therefore, less public interface between taxpayer and tax administration. There is very less public interface between us. Then, reduction in compliance cost. Obviously, before a person was filing, before a person was filing VAT return, before a person was filing excise duty, before a person was filing service tax return, assuming for each and every return a chartered accountant is charging 5,000 rupees. For each return which a person was filing, chartered accountant was charging how much? 5,000 rupees. So totally 15,000 rupees in a month was complaints cost. Only for filing the returns he had to pay 15,000 rupees. Only for filing returns he had to pay 15,000 rupees. Now it is not like that. Now what has happened? Now it is only one return which he has to file. That is GST return. Under GST we have different types of return, that is different. That we'll see when we discuss that particular chapter. Now there is only one law under which I have to file a return. If I charge 7,500 also, I am saving 7,500. If a company feels, if I am paying that CA 7,500, then I am at least saving 7,500 more. I am saving 7,500 more. Why, sir? Because there is an complaints is reduced now. There is only one single law which you have to follow that will reduce your complaints cost. Uniformity in laws, procedures and tax rates across the country goes a long way in reducing the complaints cost also. Then advantages to trade and industry. How is it advantageous to our industry? Point number one of the major advantages is mitigation of ill effect of cascading. Before we had cascading effect. What is this cascading effect? Tax on tax. Before GST we had this cascading effect, tax on tax. In the previous class we would have seen, I go to a restaurant, I order for food, VAT is levied. He is giving me services, service tax is levied. I am seeing a beautiful lady dancing over there, entertainment tax is levied. It is a luxury restaurant, so luxury tax is levied. So tax on tax was happening, cascading effect was happening. Now that cascading effect is gone, and now also we have one more benefit. What benefit? We have continuous chain of credit available. By subsuming most of the central and state taxes into a single tax, and by allowing set off of prior stage taxes for transaction across the entire value chain, it helps in mitigating the ill effects of cascading, improving the competitiveness and improving the liquidity in the business. Then it is beneficial to small traders and entrepreneurs. Sir, how is it beneficial to small traders and entrepreneurs? GST is beneficial to small traders and entrepreneurs. Why, sir? Now registration limit under GST has been increased. Under service tax, if your turnover crosses 10 lakh rupees, you should take registration. Under excise duty, if your turnover crosses 10 lakh rupees, you should take registration. Under VAT, if you are doing sale and business activity, and you will have to take a registration. The limit is different in different states, so I am not talking about the limit. But under GST, the threshold limit they have changed. 20 lakhs is the threshold limit. You should take a registration. In that also, you should take a registration if you are making supplies within the states. Up to 40 lakhs limit is there. So small traders who are there, they are more beneficial. They don't have to unnecessarily get registered and follow the law. And even more benefit, there are further more benefits under GST. Even though you are registered, up to 1.5 crores you can follow, you can get registered as a composition dealer, and you can take different advantage wherein you need not file return every month or every quarter, etc. There are some benefits which are there, which we'll see individually when we discuss those chapters. So there are benefits which is available to small traders and entrepreneurs. What benefits? GST has increased the threshold limit for registration for small businesses. Further, single registration. Before it was like, if you have 5 different places from where you are doing business in say in a particular state, 5 different registrations you had to take. Now you can take only one registration for entire state. Though you have 10 branches, take one registration. Small businesses have also been provided an additional benefit of composition scheme. With the creation of seamless national market across the country, small enterprises have an opportunity to expand their national footprint with minimal investment. What is that last line telling, sir? Now, because there is a same law which you have to follow in entire India, I will not worry now to go to a different state and do my business activity over there, do my whatever business activity I want to do. Now say for example, in my case only, if I am teaching GST, if I am teaching, before I was teaching say service tax and VAT, the service tax and VAT which I was teaching in Karnataka was not same as what I was teaching in Maharashtra. It was not same as compared to what I was teaching in Rajasthan. But now I am teaching GST. This GST which I am teaching is same in Karnataka. This GST which I am teaching is same in Maharashtra. It is same in Rajasthan meaning all over India, any person can study GST from me, and that teaching which I am going to do is same to each and every person. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll stop this video over here. We'll record one more video for these two topics. One is GST Common Portal and GST Council. This will complete this particular chapter. The reason why, sir, because we have that limit of 5 GB. Okay, let us wait in next video. Till then, tada, bye bye, enjoy.